Sit-up analysis. Sit-ups are one of the most commonly used exercises for strengthening the abdominal muscles. Are only the abdominal muscles active in this exercise? Is there any risk in performing this exercise? The abdominal muscles connect the ribs to the pelvis, so they flex the spine until it reaches full flexion. Note that the abdominal muscles are not able to bring the body from lying position to sitting position. The abdominal group includes rectus abdominis, transversus abdominis, internal oblique, and external oblique. As noted, contraction of the abdominal muscles flexes the spine, but they can't bring the body to a sitting position. Let's try to understand why. The abdominal muscles pull the ribs from above and flex only the spine. To go from lying to sitting, other muscles are needed to pull the entire torso forward. While these muscles are pulling the torso, the function of the abdominal muscle is to stabilize the spine. This is the stage of spinal flexion. And now let's connect the muscles that make the transition from lying to sitting possible. The first and most dominant is the iliopsoas, which connects the spine and the legs. And the other hip flexors assist, among them rectus femoris, tensor fasciae latate, and sartorius. These hip flexors pull the pelvis and spine and flex the hip in a reverse action, so the body moves towards the legs, which are fixed in place. First stage, spinal flexion. The abdominal muscles in dynamic contraction. Second stage, torsoflexion through the hip joint. The hip flexors perform flexion. The abdominal muscles act as stabilizers. The curl-ups stage includes flexion of the spine with posterior pelvic tilt. In the sit-up phase, activation of the iliopsoas muscle increases the load on the lumbar spine. When the abdominal muscles are weak, the hip flexors tilt the pelvis anteriorly. The load on the lumbar vertebrae is very large and is often characterized by backaches. An example of weak abdominal muscles. Want to strengthen the abdominal muscles in the movement aspect? Do curl-ups. Note, it is important to know that many studies show a direct link between repetitive full spinal flexion and back injuries. Want to strengthen the hip flexors? Do sit-ups, but do them slowly. To stabilize the pelvis and spine, we must utilize the core muscles. Make sure you have strong abdominal muscles before performing the sit-ups. Know that the lumbar compression values are very high, a risk factor for many people. We're presenting the information behind the exercise. In the final analysis, you must decide whether it's worth doing or not.